All right, welcome back to another Spread Pick'em show with Mike and Andrew. We're in week 10, double digits, and I am 5 games up on you, Andrew, and you're basically getting closer and closer to wearing a Giants jersey on this video, which I'm pretty excited about.
I think I don't even know what my record was last week, but I think I went back up above 500. So we're doing what we can.
If I can do quick math, I went 10-4 last week, which I'm surprised. That was actually really good. And you either went 9-5 or I think it was 9-5. So we'll go with that for you. So pretty solid weeks for both of us. Our favorite bets last week were the Giants +3 for me. That hit. Baltimore -2.5. That hit. Yours was Green Bay -6, which I believe did hit. Yes.
Yep,
But then you picked the Patriots -7, and
I
those
did.
great Jets found a way
Yep.
to almost win the game. So that was pretty crazy. So we'll go through the full review, go through each game. So Green Bay at San Francisco, which feels like it was a month ago, but Green Bay won that game very easily. And who was that guy? Richie James almost had 200 yards, I saw. And I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of it was garbage time, but I'm like, wow, that's a really good game. But never heard of the guy before that. So next on the Sunday games, the Giants, my Giants get their second win. They can only beat the Washington Red football team, so we can only do that, but a win's a win. So now we're at 2-7, and we have a big game this week against the Eagles. We'll talk about that one pretty soon. So I get the win there. You took the Giants as well. So nice start to the week for us, 2-0. We also win this one, Carolina at KC. KC was a -10.5. Carolina got it close, came down to an onside kick that they almost recovered, but did not get it. Baltimore, Indianapolis, you went with the Colts because you love the freaking Colts, but I don't want to say they stink. That's too much, but they're overrated. Baltimore gets a win there by a good amount. So I won that one. Seattle at Buffalo. We both took the L on this one. I predicted that the Bills would be bad for one more week, then be good after the bye. Turns out they were good the week before the bye. So Buffalo had a
True.
very impressive win there. Seattle, they might have some flaws on their offensive line and things like that. Chicago at Tennessee. Me being the dumb I am, went with the Chicago Bears. You took the Titans. Good call by you. Detroit and Minnesota, we both took the Vikings there, and Dalvin Cook, man, continues to do what he does, and he looks phenomenal. Houston at Jacksonville. Houston was a -7, and remember last week I watched one pass of Luton, the Jacksonville quarterback. I said, this guy looks pretty good. You know what? It was like the first play of the game. He had DJ Chark for a 73-yard
Yeah.
touchdown, and I'm like, this is the guy I expected to get here. But, yeah, they almost won the game, so that was pretty crazy. But they covered the -7, or +7, I should say. Denver at Atlanta. Atlanta was a -3.5, and this was a game where Denver was down, I think, 17 points or so in the fourth quarter, and they were basically a drive away from tying that game. And I really thought this would be another instance of the Falcons blowing a game they should have won very easily. I forget what happened. I think Drew Lock got sacked and maybe fumbled the game away at the end there, but there was actually a chance. They stopped the Falcons, and it was like, oh my gosh, it might happen again. But the Falcons covered there. They get the win. Las Vegas at the Chargers. We both took Las Vegas, and we were, I would say, inches away from losing that one because that
Yeah.
guy, what was that guy's name? It's something like Chicken Parm. I don't know, something with the I don't even know his name,
Yeah.
honestly.
I
Right? You know
don't
what I'm
know
talking
either, but
about?
yeah, because
That
I remember the
Chargers.
Chargers, they tweeted after Parm for the win,
Yes.
and
That's
then
what.
he
Yeah.
didn't catch it.
Right. So I don't know. When I first watched that, were you over Sunday? I honestly forget. Were
I
you?
was.
Yes. Yeah. When we were watching
I
that
was.
game, I was like, he didn't catch that, did he? And then like the replays showed it. The first 2 or 3 replays showed that he did catch it. Then they showed that one angle, and you can see it clearly hit the ground. So Las
Mhm.
Vegas escapes with a win there. Pittsburgh at Dallas. I mean, man, Dallas almost won. I don't know how, but they almost won. And if it wasn't for a Garrett Gilbert red zone interception, basically, or end zone interception, I should say, they might have actually won that game and went to overtime. But Pittsburgh, they escaped with a win. They did not come anywhere close to covering a -13.5. Then we had Miami at Arizona, and I was surprised you did not pick Miami, which I did, and Miami actually won the game, and Zan Gonzalez missed a 49-yard field goal by falling short, which you do not see every day, especially in a dome. That was weird. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. We both took New Orleans. I felt pretty good about that one, and man, Tampa Bay looks pretty bad in that one, but New Orleans, they're playing their best football right now, so good for them. Then Monday night, it was the New England Patriots at the Jets, and New England was a -7. And my Jets, baby, they cover that game. So I will say, Andrew, you've gotten every Jets game wrong this year, haven't you? Just about.
I think I have. I might have.
Been
I don't
rough.
know.
It's
There's got
been
to be
rough.
one in there that I've got right. At least
Yeah.
one.
All right. So with that being said, we'll get on to week number 10 now. So tonight's game is a pretty good one for Thursday Night Football, which does have some bad matchups sometimes. This one's a -1 here. It's the Indianapolis Colts. I should say Andrews Colts. They are
Yeah.
a +1 at Tennessee, who is favored by 1. We both like the Tennessee Titans at this in this matchup. I'm not really a big Colts guy, as you know. I think Tennessee has their flaws, as we know, on defense, but I'm not really a big Phillip Rivers guy anymore. I was the past few years. I thought he was underrated back in like 2018, 17, 16, but, Phillip Rivers doesn't do it for me anymore, so I'm going to go with the Titans, and I think you are as well.
Yeah, it's my Colts for the season, but it's not my Colts this week. I am going to go with the Titans. I like the Titans all around better than I like the Colts. And in a game like this, where the line is so close, it's literally a toss-up. So you're basically picking a winner here. I think I would feel more comfortable going with the Titans. Now, the Titans' defense doesn't scare me that much, which is kind of worrisome, I would say, because I think the Colts will be able to establish the run in this game, get a good push on the line, and maybe Jonathan Taylor has a good game. Maybe they include all three running backs in this game. For my fantasy team, I hope Jonathan Taylor has a game, but as we know, Jonathan Taylor, maybe I overrated him this year so far.
Yeah, maybe.
But I do like Tennessee because I just think they're going to just rough up that Colts secondary, really expose it. And I really like the Colts secondary this year. I think they're underrated. They don't get talked about that much, but they're pretty good. They don't have big names, some of the big names in the league, but they still have really good cornerbacks. But I do think Tennessee will take advantage of that. And if they don't, they have the workhorse Derrick Henry in the backfield just to get it done for them. That's what I said last week. Last week, I basically went off of if they can't pass the ball, they can run the ball. If they can't run the ball, they can pass the ball. That's really what this Tennessee Titans team is about. They got it done last week, and I'm trusting them to get it done this week.
It's fair. I think this is a very close game. I do say I think the Colts are overrated, but I still think this is probably a game within 3 points. I'll go with Tennessee because they're the home team, and I feel like they're a bit better, like roster-wise. So it's a toss-up for me. I think both coaches are really good, and when it's a game that I think is a toss-up, I go with the better coach. And talking about Mike Vrabel and Frank Reich, it's very close, honestly, but I would maybe go Vrabel there. And honestly, I mean, Ryan Tannehill at this point in his career, probably better than Phillip Rivers. So, yeah, I think once again, as you said, Derrick Henry can probably get things going here. It's not like the Colts are just this tremendous defense that some people think they are. I don't really see them like that. And as you said, they don't have like the best names on that team. And of course they have like guys like DeForest Buckner, Justin Houston, and Darius Leonard. But like, outside of that, it's like they don't have any superstars on this defense, but a lot of really good, solid players. But I think if as long as Tennessee just executes their game plan and doesn't make stupid mistakes, they should win this game. Now, as I said, it's going to be close, and it would not surprise me if the Colts won. But we're always due for a Phillip Rivers terrible pass in the fourth quarter. And if we get one in this game, I think it's going to be in a situation where the Titans can cover. But of course, you got to watch out for Stephen Gostkowski, who has his off games here and there. So if he misses some field goals in a close game that I anticipate to be a close game, and that can be very costly with covering the spread. So we'll see. But I'm going to go with Tennessee as well. We agree with the first few games, actually. So for Sunday's games, it's Tampa Bay at Carolina. Tampa Bay is a -5. Carolina coming off that close loss, and Tampa Bay coming off that embarrassing loss on Sunday Night Football. But we both like Tampa Bay here.
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay because when's the last time you've seen Tom Brady, A, get blown out, and B, come back and lose a game after losing a game that badly again? I don't think it happens, especially against Carolina. And I like Carolina. I like Teddy Bridgewater's ability to keep them in games. But when you get to like that touchdown area, that 5.5, 6, 7, that's where it gets questionable for me in Carolina. That's when I might choose the other team if they're the better team. And here, obviously, I think Tampa Bay is the better overall team. Now, Carolina is going to be missing Christian McCaffrey. Now, you might say to yourself, well, Mike Davis, he's pretty good. They don't really need a Christian McCaffrey per se. But you saw Christian McCaffrey come in off of injury last game, and he did fantastic. I mean, he single-handedly changed that offense, probably got us our spread win in that game, if I'm being honest. Just his ability to just be literally all over the field. He makes fantastic catches as a running back. He's an incredible player. And missing a guy like that, that's big, especially when you're playing this Tampa Bay offense. Yeah, I get it. They struggled. All the memes on Twitter about Antonio Brown coming in there and ruining the offense, I think it's a bunch of BS, if I'm being honest. Their offense is good. Like, if they had this team in 2016, it would be the best team of all time. I mean, these guys were all like 99 overalls in Madden. I mean, this is like the best team ever. Now they're a little bit on the older side, but I still think they have what it takes to get it done against Carolina.
So you're saying if I put this team together in Madden 17, which I still play to this day, it would be a very good team,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
yes,
okay.
absolutely.
I also like how now you're kissing McCaffrey's ass because you traded for him in our fantasy league, but that's just what a coincidence. And you know what the funny thing is? I'm playing you as,
Yeah,
people don't know this.
exactly.
I'm playing you this week. You have McCaffrey, but I, being the smart manager I am, stashed Mike Davis all year, and now I have him as a starter. So I really hope he goes off in this matchup. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well. And, for the big reason you said, how many times do we see Tom Brady, A, get blown out, but B, like lose back-to-back games? Like it just does
Yeah.
not happen too much. I know it's a new team, obviously, but I think Tampa Bay, it was their first game having like all the weapons there, getting Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin back the same game basically is going to be kind of tough in some instances. And look, I mean, Tampa Bay, while they looked really bad at some points, they were really close to scoring on some plays as well. So it wasn't like maybe as bad as the score says it was, but the Saints defense, they can turn it up sometimes. And I just don't think Carolina has a defense that's even close talent-wise to the Saints. So I think this is one of those games where it's in division. It could be close, of course, and they're on the road, but this is a matchup where I think Tampa Bay can put up a ton of points, and they might want to unleash those weapons and put up a lot of points here. We saw the Chiefs put up like 27 on them, so I'm not comparing them to the Chiefs offense, but this defense for the Panthers is beatable, is what I'm trying to say. So I think this is an instance where Tampa Bay's offense gets off to a good start here, and they probably end up winning this game, hopefully by a touchdown, I would say. But also, don't sleep on Tampa Bay's defense. They're still really good. They had an off game, I get it, but their defense still top 5, I would think, in the league, in my opinion. So next we go on to Houston at Cleveland. I think both teams are coming off a bye. Did Houston play last week or no? I'm
Yeah,
sure
Houston played Jacksonville.
they
Played
did.
your
You're
Luton.
right. Okay. So this is why I'm picking the Browns. Are coming off the bye, but I have other reasons as well. But Cleveland's a -3, and we're both actually picking Cleveland here.
Yeah, I am going to go with your Brownies here, but it does concern me a little bit. Their injury report is a little messy. I don't know how healthy Baker Mayfield is. Obviously, I don't think he was on the injury report, but he's probably still battling stuff. I could imagine he came off the COVID list a couple days ago. Probably nothing to do with that necessarily, but I still think he's might be a little injured internally with some of those fracture. Did he have a fracture? No, he had like something in his ribs, right?
Yes, yeah. I don't know if it
Yeah.
was a fracture. Maybe it was. I don't know, but it was bad against the Steelers that one week. Yeah.
I just don't think this defense in the Texans is just good enough to stop this offense, even without an Odell Beckham. Me and you have discussed several times that maybe Baker Mayfield's better without Odell Beckham. This will be the week to finally find out if that's the case, and I think that will be the case. I think Baker Mayfield's going to be pretty good in this game. But the one thing I have to make sure he doesn't do is try and do too much. Like I said, this Texas defense, they're not really that great. Don't try and, make the hero play hero ball, whatever you want to call it. Just do enough to win the game. And in this case, when it's a 3.5-point spread like this, we don't really need a blowout. We don't really need Baker Mayfield to go out there and win by 20. We just need him to win by at least a touchdown or no, at least 4 points. So in this one, I really like the Browns offensively. I think their defense is also underrated, something that doesn't get talked about enough. I think they have a lot of young players that are really good on that team. A little hot and cold here and there, but I think they will be able to stop this Houston offense. And I just overall like Cleveland in this one. I think they're going to be able to run the ball well. Hopefully Nick Chubb is there. Don't know how much they'll use him when they have a guy like Kareem Hunt there. But for my sake, again, in fantasy, when I'm playing you, I need Nick Chubb because I've waited so long for him to come off the IR, and now he's finally back. So hopefully he gets it done. But yeah, I'm going to go Cleveland.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb coming back definitely influenced my decision here. And when you look at it, here's some stats for you real quick. So I think right now, Houston defensively is giving up the most rushing yards per game at 159.5 per game, which is a stupid amount. And Cleveland, when they're favored in games, loves to run the ball. That's Kevin Stefanski's MO. He loves to run the ball. So if they can do that successfully against the worst run defense in the league, you're taking a lot of pressure off Baker Mayfield. It opens up play action, and all of a sudden, Cleveland's offense is probably really efficient. They'll probably win time of possession in that game. I don't expect the Browns defense to stop the Texans offense because they're still very talented. As we know, Brandon Cooks is actually pretty good low-key the last few weeks, or even the past month, I should say. And, of course, Will Fuller, you got to watch out for him and guys like that. I think David Johnson might have a concussion and might be out this week, but they got the other Duke Johnson on that team, who's not that bad of a player either. So, look, I mean, I think Cleveland should run the ball pretty efficiently in this matchup, and they'll win time of possession. I don't know if they'll win this game, but it's only 3 points. So based on them having Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, a good offensive line that should control this game and control the clock, I think Cleveland should win this game. hopefully Baker Mayfield doesn't make the bad decisions, which he does do sometimes, and hopefully sets his feet when he makes his throws, but you never know. But if we get a good Baker Mayfield game, I think this is a game that the Browns should win, and they come off that bye, which I love, and I do think Stefanski's a good head coach. So I'll go with them. I'll go with Cleveland in this one. Next up, we have the Washington football team. They're at the Detroit Lions. I announced last week I'm done with the Lions. The Lions are actually 4.5-point favorites in this one, which I found surprising. So we're both going to go with Washington because I can't stand the Lions anymore, and I don't know what you think, but go ahead and tell us why.
Well, obviously, I'm going to go against the Lions because they're your Lions. But you know what? If you're going against the Lions and you love them so much, then how am I going to go with the Lions? And
Right.
honestly, in this game, I don't understand why they're favored by – that's not a lot of points, but it's still a decent amount of points. They won't have Kenny Golladay, who didn't practice today, most likely. Neither did TJ Hawkinson. I mean, these are like big-time players on their offense that they're going to be missing. And let's not forget, I mean, Matthew Stafford is still injured. He's been a full participant in practice this week, but he's still dealing with that neck injury. So he's not 100% either. I think the guys on Washington's side of the field, they have some injuries, but not to the extent of where I would think that they're going to overpower this game, the Lions. Antonio Gibson's a name out there, obviously Kyle Allen. But look, I mean, Alex Smith isn't bad. He can game manage like one of the best in the league. I think he can get it done here, keep this game close. And I just really like Washington overall. I think their defense gets a lot of pressure, that defensive line, which has kind of been slow the last few weeks, if I'm being real. But I think they will pick it up again against the Lions here. And I think Alex Smith will surprise you this week. I think you're going to see a good offensive game from Alex Smith, and I think they're going to win the game, not only cover.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this is like the first full week where Alex Smith's actually practicing as the starter because it was Haskins to start. Kyle Allen was named the starter after that, but now that he fractured his ankle or whatever, it's now Alex Smith's team. So it'd be funny, though, if Alex Smith struggles and they have to go back to Haskins, that'd be pretty interesting. I don't expect that to happen, but it would be a funny thing if it happened. But, yeah, Alex Smith had a lot of un-Alex Smith-like turnovers last week, just plays throwing across his body, missing guys on checkdowns, and I watched that whole game, of course, Jabril Peppers and Logan Ryan with easy interceptions, Blake Martinez. I don't expect him to have 3 interceptions in a game again. That was just like a fluke, I feel like. And as I said, if Alex Smith gets a full week of practice against a Lions defense that is really not that good, I think they'll be fine. I like Terry McLaurin a lot. This guy, Cam Sims, or other receiver on the outside, is not that bad. He showed a lot of yards after catch ability. Maybe it's the Giants defense missing tackles. I don't know. But the guy looked like a beast with the ball in his hands. And you can't forget about the running backs. You mentioned Antonio Gibson, even J.D. McKissick has been a really good receiving back for them this year. And I do love my Matt Stafford, but Stafford's not good enough to just carry an offense. You know, he's not having Kenny Golladay in this game most likely. I didn't know Hawkinson didn't practice, which is now concerning because he's one of my tight ends in fantasy. So that's a concern. Hopefully he finds a way to play. But if he's out as well, then, man, I'd probably put real money on Washington for this one, especially as underdogs. But, you know, I don't think Washington's this great team, but the Lions are not good either. So to cover – not cover, but just basically not lose by 4.5 or more, it's like, yeah, I'll take the Washington football team in that one for sure. I'm not the most confident in it because sometimes the Lions play really good games on offense. But, hey, I will take Washington in this matchup for sure. Next is the first game we disagree on, and my guts wanted to go with you, but I'm like, you know what, this is a lot of points, and I went with them last week, and it worked out, so let's just do it again. But we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, biggest spread of the week, -13. I went with Jacksonville, and you went with Green Bay here.
Yeah, I did, because honestly, the Packers defense is a lot better than the Houston Texans defense. I mean, we just shared those statistics before. Jacksonville played well against that Houston Texans defense with that new quarterback, but now they're going to be playing the Green Bay Packers. And look, their injury report, it's pretty ugly too. Jair Alexander might not play. I think I saw Zadarius Smith is also on that list, which is kind of scary for their defensive line. But this offense is just way too good. I mean, honestly, they could let up 20 points and still cover this spread, I feel like, in this game. Or maybe even like 30. I could see the Green Bay Packers putting up 40-plus in this game. Like, that's how good their offense has been so far. They get a healthy Aaron Jones. They get a healthy Devontae Adams, who's been basically healthy this entire year. And they get an outstanding Aaron Rodgers, who, again, I'll say it for like the 5th time, I said was regressing, which I now regret. Obviously, he's not, but the stats did prove it. You can go and check. But, yeah, he's been playing like – He's just been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, Devontae Adams has been one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the league. And that offense has just so much firepower. Another player, David Bakhtiari, he's going to be back this week. I mean, these are big-time players that will literally change the outcome of the game. That's why I'm going Green Bay here, even though the points are so high.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, my gut feeling wanted to agree with you, but if Jair Alexander's not in this game, my boy Charky Chark might have another big game in this one, so I would love that, and I would actually be compelled to start him, actually. So hopefully for my sake that does
Ugh.
happen, but I am concerned about that. But even the event that Chark is locked up by Alexander, they have the Chris Conley dude, I think Chenault's out, and they have what's his name, 84, Keelan Cole. Like, they have good weapons here, even if Chark's taken out of this game. So I think they'll be fine. And, Luton showed that he's, like, serviceable. He's fine. He's not the worst quarterback in the league. I mean, maybe he will be. But, like, he's not, like, the worst guy in the league, I guess. So can he cover 13 points? I mean, sure. I don't see why not. James Robinson's a good running back, and it's not like Green Bay has this awesome run defense. It's better than what it was last year, I feel like, but it's not the best. I feel like James Robinson's been a really good running back this year, so it's definitely possible to get something going there. And while Jacksonville's defense is concerning, it's really not that good, and I know Green Bay has the extended rest. I mean, Jacksonville probably feels pretty good about themselves. You basically were a 2-point conversion away from tying the Texans, who, look, are not that good in their own right, but to come that close with a backup quarterback is probably, they're riding a bit high right now. So I think I'm trying to talk myself into it too much, but 13's a lot is really the premise I'm going off of here. And we've seen Aaron Rodgers put up a ton of points before. Jacksonville's defense, not good, but it's going to be a tough task for C.J. Henderson, the rookie cornerback, probably on Devontae Adams in this game. So if he can somehow do a good job on him, then maybe they find a way to cover. But I will say, hopefully, Luton and the Jacksonville offense can put up maybe a 20 spots and make this one coverable. But if not, then, Green Bay's probably going to win. But for the sake of this, I will go with Jacksonville. Next, we have the matchup that me and you are looking forward to, a potential matchup for the NFC East. I feel like if you guys win, then it's probably a rip for the Giants in 2020. So, hopefully we find a way to win that game. But, of course, it's the Giants it's the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants because, of course, you guys beat us at your home on Thursday. But so it's Philadelphia minus 3.5. I like this because I'm picking the Giants, and you're going to go with the Eagles here.
Oh, of course I'm going to go with the Eagles. How can I sit up here and not have pride in my team? And guys, you know what the Eagles are doing this week? They're coming off the bye. I mean, can you believe that Mike didn't pick the Eagles and they're coming off the bye? I mean, it's crazy to me. And one of the main driven things for me is not just that I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan and I'm competing with a Giants fan here. It's because Washington the Giants had a +5 turnover differential last week and only won the game by what was it, 3 points? I mean, that's embarrassing. And my boy Carson Wentz loves to turn the ball over. So in the back of my head, knowing that even if they turn the ball over as many times as Washington did, that they'll still be that close in the game, that just tells me here that the Philadelphia Eagles have a good shot to not only cover this game, but to have a pretty good game overall. Now, I will say this, as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, if anybody's watching this and is also an Eagle fan, you can agree. The Eagles play great against good teams. They play horrible against bad teams. Now, I'm not saying the Giants are necessarily a bad team.
We're a good
They're one of those teams. They're one of those teams that get better every single week. But that's a legit problem that the Eagles have. They don't play bad teams well. They play great teams great. And, that's really been the story so far this year. So that's where it does concern me. But I do feel like 3.5 points is a small enough margin for the Eagles to still play bad and win this game. And look, I think coming off the bye, that's big for Wentz and that's big for Doug Peterson. They're both very good in these type of games. So I am going to go with Philadelphia here. Not too confidently, but confident enough.
Okay. No, that's fair. Look, the last 2 times we played you guys, it was a 1-point loss. We were up by a lot of points with like 4 minutes left. Of course, the comeback happened, and Evan Ingram, I wish I had a football right now so I could just drop it, but it's somewhere over there, so I'm not getting it. But everyone knows what happened. And then last year when we played in Philadelphia on, I think, Monday night, it was the game where we went to overtime. The Giants had that 14-0 lead at halftime. I know it was Eli Manning at quarterback, different, quarterback, of course, but we went to overtime and Ertz had that touchdown where no one was covering him. But my point is the Giants play close games with Philly. Now, I'm not going to rule it out that Philly can win this game in a heartbreaking fashion by a field goal, by 2, by 1. I can totally see it happening for sure. But I am a Giants fan that is riding high right now. I fully believe in my coaching staff. I love Joe Judge. I love Patrick Graham. I'm starting to like Jason Garrett, so that's fine. I don't know if we have the right quarterback, but I feel pretty good about the rest of the roster. Our cornerback, too, sucks. I get that. But the Giants have some good pieces on their team. And you know what, Andrew? Last time we did this video, I feared your front set, not your front seven, your front four, which I still do. I think it's good, right? But our offensive line has been playing out of its mind the past 2 weeks. We made the Tampa Bay front seven look like it was not that good. And then Washington, who also has a better front seven than you guys, in my opinion, made them look not so good. So you know what? If we can do that against them, then who says we can't get some push against the Eagles front seven? So I think it's possible. I'm going to be the optimistic fool here. I know we don't beat the Eagles too much, but you know what? I think a new page is turning for the Giants, new head coach. I love this guy, so let's go out there and win this game. If we lose, I think it'll be a very close loss. So with that being said, I will go with my Giants there. Anything else you want to say about this game?
Yeah, I have
okay,
a question.
Go ahead. Yep.
All right, so some information that we missed here that I missed, I should have, stated. We have Alshon Jeffrey and Miles Sanders coming back in this game, most likely Lane Johnson as well. And those three players are some big players. Now, you said your cornerback two stinks. Who you putting the cornerback one on? You have to put him on Travis Fulgham. You can't put him on Alshon Jeffrey and leave Travis Fulgham to Logan Ryan, can you?
No, here's the thing. I don't care about Alshon Jeffrey. He's dust. He's trash. And I hate him because he lost me a fantasy season once.
What about Jalen Reagor?
Touchdown. He's a slot guy, isn't he? Right?
He could play outside.
He could, but I have faith in my rookie Darnay Holmes in the slot. I'm fine.
Okay.
I think Rager's a good player, 100%. But I don't know. We'll try to limit him some way somehow. I know our cornerback too sucks, but Carson Wentz can hopefully give us a couple turnovers. Let's hope so.
Oh, he will.
That's what I'm thinking right now. All right, so that was fun. Now let's go on to another pretty fun matchup of some rookie quarterbacks here. The 5th and 6th pick, I believe it was, right? Yeah, 5th and 6th pick. It was the Los Angeles Chargers at the Miami Dolphins. Miami is a -2.5. You like your Tua and the Dolphins, and I like the Herbert and the Chargers.
Yeah, and Tua literally lived up to my expectations last week. I just want to put it out there. For some of you that don't know, I stated before the draft that I thought Tua was going to be a better pro than Joe Burrow.
It's victory lap time.
So far, Joe Burrow obviously has played more games and played in more games, but Tua looked pretty good and looked pretty good against an Arizona Cardinal team that is like a really good football team that's going to make the playoffs, possibly have a run. And Tua just looked great. I mean, he really did. And I really like Tua right now. I'm going to ride the Tua train. But what does concern me, again, is this LA Charger team plays in close games with everybody. It doesn't matter if you're the Chiefs. It doesn't matter if you're I'm not going to go as far as saying the Jets. But it doesn't matter if you're the Miami Dolphins. They're going to play close. Like, they play every team as close as possible, which is where 2.5 gets a little iffy. Would have felt a lot more confident with a 1.5. But, we got to do what we got to do. I'm going to put the ball in my guy Tua Tagovailoa's hands. Justin Herbert does scare me. I think this is almost like a really fun game to watch. Whatever channel this is on, they're going to be hyping up the 5th and 6th pick thing, like you said. That's usually what they do. But I trusted Tua at the draft, and I trust him now. Don't prove me wrong.
Oh, he might. It's going to be a fun matchup, honestly. I am very intrigued to see what happens here. And you said this before for a team, I forget who it was, but the Chargers are a team that plays down to their opponent or plays up to their opponent. I don't know if the Dolphins are – it was the Eagles? Yeah, okay. So I don't know if the Dolphins are considered a good team in the NFL by other teams, but, as a fan that watches these teams play – the Dolphins have to earn your respect at some point. They're well coached, and their defense is actually pretty good now. It's not great, but it's pretty good. They definitely create turnovers for sure. And their offense now with Tua is pretty good. And Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't bad either. And Tua, honestly, we saw a couple instances where he looked like he was just out to dry for a sack and was just making stuff happen and just got out the pocket and, ran for a first down at one point or made a throw on the other one. So he's looking good. I'm not ready to crown him over Joe Burrow just yet, but you're off to a good start here, so I will say that. But I expect the Chargers here to put up a nice game defensively. I think they'll get some pressure here. It's not like Miami's offensive line is that great. The Chargers can get some pressure. And as you said, they play in close games all the time. And Miami's defense is pretty good. I mean, of course, Keenan Allen's going to be in the slot. And I think Byron Jones and why I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Byron Jones and the
Xavier Howard.
Howard, yes, there you go, are mostly outside cornerbacks. So if you can get Keenan Allen on the slot against some bum, I think that'll serve well for them. And of course, Mike Williams might be taken out of the game and things like that. But that's fine. All we need is Keenan Allen to be there and make a bunch of catches and just move the chains for us. So hopefully the Chargers can do that. So, as I said, I think it's going to be a close game, but for some reason, I just buy into the Chargers more. They can't keep losing all these close games. I feel like at some point they're going to find a way to just get a win. I don't care how they do it. Just find a way to get a win. And I think this is the time where they can do it. There might be some hype for the Chargers because this Tua guy was taking the pick before their quarterback, and there might be some, I don't know, they might play harder for them. Who knows? We'll see. But with that being said, I won't go with the Chargers. You take the Dolphins. Speaking of the Dolphins, the team they played last week, we're on to the Arizona Cardinals. The Buffalo Bills are at the Cardinals. Arizona's a -2. Buffalo coming off a very impressive win, but we both don't really buy it yet because we both want to go with the Arizona Cardinals here.
Yeah, I am going to go with the Arizona Cardinals here. I mean, Kyler Murray has just been unbelievable. I think your brother actually texted to one of our group chats that he was playing better as of now than Lamar Jackson was last year, and obviously, that was a historic MVP season. Now, do I go as far and say that Kyler Murray is the MVP right now? No, because he's competing with Russell Wilson, and arguably Patrick Mahomes, I think, is the guy at MVP right now. If the season ended, I think he's better. But Kyler Murray is still just he's tremendous. I just watched the game, and people call him midget. He is a midget, but he can run. I mean, this guy, he just gets out of anything. He'll be an inch away from a defender and just outrun him. He'll outrun him, right then and there. He is just fast. He is a fast
I have a question
guy.
right here. I have a question. If Kyler Murray's a midget, then what does that make us? Because I'm pretty sure we're the same height as Kyler Murray. So
I might be smaller than Kyler Murray.
Are you trying to say something?
No. You know what I mean. I mean,
you mean compared
small.
to NFL players?
Yeah, okay, when you got a 6'8" guy or a 6'4" guy running at you, he's gonna look like a midget. That's what's gonna happen. But yeah, I do feel pretty comfortable picking them over Buffalo. I just feel like Buffalo's too inconsistent for me, and that starts at the quarterback position. I think Josh Allen is a little consistent, and even when he's really good in the game, he still misses a lot of throws, and that's my biggest criteria about him that I don't really like. And you get the same old Kyler Murray every game. I mean, you might get a turnover or two a game from Kyler Murray, but he makes the plays. And I know that's what you don't like about Daniel Jones. He has the turnovers, doesn't make the plays. Kyler Murray is the exact opposite of that. He has the turnovers sometimes, but he makes the plays. That's why I feel like anytime Arizona's a -2, a +2 in any game, I'm probably going to pick them because I really like Arizona.
Yeah, and then coming off that loss last week, a tough loss kind of makes me want to pick them even more because they probably want to come out and kind of prove themselves. So I will take Arizona here. I feel pretty good about them in this pick, honestly. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get Kenyon Drake back, who you told me before the show started was in a shooting. I don't know how true that is, honestly, but I feel like I saw he was practicing. Yeah, I don't know. That could be fake news. We'll see. It was from my brother, so you cannot trust that kid. But anyway, I think the Cardinals' offense can be fine in this game, and I think Tre'Davious White, the cornerback for the Bills, might be a legitimate questionable in this game. So if he's out this game and you have DeAndre Hopkins against a cornerback 2 and then you have Christian Kirk against a cornerback 3, then all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, Kyler Murray can actually do something here. And I think this might be a big game for Chase Edmonds, who was not efficient whatsoever. I think he had 25 carries for 70 yards filling in for Kenyon Drake. But this Bills run defense has not been that great this year. And that was one of those things that I was confused about Seattle's game plan because they barely tried to run the ball in that game. I know they didn't have their starting running back and Chris Carson. I think Carlos Hyde was out as well. But against a team that's that bad, at run defense in the Bills, why not even try to establish a run? It made no sense to me whatsoever, but that's whatever. That was last week. But I think Chase Edmonds will have a big game on the ground here, which should be enough. And as you said, I mean, the Buffalo Bills are way too inconsistent. Josh Allen, I don't know which type of Josh Allen we're going to get here, but if he's, turnover prone and things like that, then I think Arizona will be in a good spot here. I once again think it'll be a close game, but it's only 2 points. So I think I do believe Arizona can outright win this game. I think they get back on the right track here. And with them coming off that loss last week, I feel like there's a better chance they'll win this game. So I'll go with Arizona as well. Next, we're on to Denver at Las Vegas. We differ on this one. Las Vegas is a -5. I picked Denver, and you went with Las Vegas.
I don't understand really the decision to go with Denver here. I really don't.
You know why.
I'll probably end up embarrassing myself. Well, of course I know why. It's Drew Lock, but Drew Lock doesn't show up until the fourth quarter. Let's be honest for a second.
Yep.
He didn't show up to the fourth quarter of the last 2 games. I think Las Vegas is going to, like, honestly dominate this game. I really like the matchups for them. I think 4.5 is extremely low. I would like a 7.5 better, especially considering how Las Vegas has played against like great teams in the NFL. I think I brought this up a lot. They've beaten great teams this year. Denver, they're not a great team. They let up 30 points to the Jets, and what are they going to do to the Raiders here? I mean, it's really just it's unpredictable with which Drew Lock you're going to get, whether you're going to get fourth quarter Drew Lock, no Drew Lock, or maybe Drew Lock for the entire game. But I trust Derek Carr and the Raiders. And I got laughed at the other day because I said Derek Carr this year has been playing like a top 12 quarterback. I seriously, like, everybody was like, what are you talking about? Obviously, you don't watch football. He's been playing like out of his mind for Derek Carr standards. And he's been winning them a lot of games, definitely not losing them any. And he's just been keeping them in games. Now, what I would like to see is let's get Josh Jacobs going. They give him all the touches in the world. Let's get him some passes. All right, 2 receptions in the last 2 games. That's not good enough. Like, that's not good, especially when you have a big physical guy that can get outside and run. Like, he's an Alabama running back. They are big, but they are fast. Like, this has been proven, and I think they really need to use him in the passing game. I think that's big in this game, especially against Denver, who, if they're going to let up, 30 points to the Jets, they're probably going to let up 60 to the Raiders. I mean, it's really just been that way. But I just really trust the Raiders here. I like them all around. And their defense, Jonathan Abram, man, he's a tank.
Yes. You know what they say, when you have Devontae Booker, you got to give him carries over Josh Jacobs. That just makes the most sense, right? And Devontae Booker did score a touchdown last week. And that's why I said on that fantasy page, I would sell high on Josh Jacobs. People still treat him like a running back 1, which he might be. But I mean, if Booker's going to play a bunch of the snaps here, I don't know. Jacobs might have a limited upside, in my opinion, but that's a whole different discussion point here. But anyway, so I think this will be a high-scoring game, and maybe Drew Lock does not turn it on until third or fourth quarter, which is definitely possible. But I like the rookie receivers here. I think Jerry Jeudy's been pretty good this year. He's been getting better lately, and I honestly think KJ Hamler might have a big game in this one. I think he had a big catch or a big run in that last game they played against the Falcons. I think this might be like the big breakout game for KJ Hamler. Now that I say that, I'll probably get 0 catches, but I am really contemplating starting him against you in our matchup this week. I'm really thinking about it. I think this might be a really good matchup for him. I might do it. We'll see. We'll see. I got a few more days to decide here, but I'm going to say there's actually a Zach Wilson tweet. Hold on. So Zach Wilson, BYU, getting serious first-round buzz. Okay, I think we knew that already. That was definitely not worth the update.
Patriots predicting right now.
You think so? Yeah.
Why not?
Why? Yeah, you're right. Why not? We'll see about that one. That'll be interesting. I'm already excited for the draft season, honestly, especially if the Giants lose this week. I'll be all over the draft research. But anyway, yeah, you did mention Derek Carr. He's been good. I mean, I would love to admit that he's not good, but I think he has been good because I don't even like Derek Carr that much. But he's had some impressive wins. I mean, the Chiefs, the Saints, and definitely a couple other teams I can't remember, but they've had some good wins this year, the Raiders. So you have to respect them. But this is an in-division matchup. I wish it was at Denver. It would have been a lot easier for me to pick them. But 5 points is a pretty good amount, so I'm going to hope Denver can cover here. I guess Denver's alive to win the game, but I think the most likely outcome is that Las Vegas probably wins this game by 3 or 4. So I think that's probably what's going to happen, but it would not surprise me either if Locke has another pretty bad game and they just don't come back to the fourth quarter. And by that point, it might be too late. But hopefully, for my sake, Denver comes out hot, which never seems to happen, but hopefully they find a way to do that. Next, we are on to Cincinnati. The Bengals, they're at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cincinnati coming off a bye, and the Steelers are a -7.5. Now, the Steelers had one of the most unimpressive wins I can remember in NFL in a long time, of course, beating the Cowboys barely. But we both like the Bengals here coming off this bye.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's giving me a little Teddy Bridgewater vibes here. Doesn't throw the game away, keeps his team in games, and that's like a legit thing to talk about here. But they don't have a guy like Joe Mixon. I'm still going to go with the Bengals because I think the Bengals are, again, one of those teams that even if they're missing the top guy, like Gianni Bernard's like a decent backup. Like, he's not bad. Again, you give him the holes, he's going to run through it. Just like put a fast guy on the field, he will run through a big hole if you give him a hole. You really don't need a guy like Joe Mixon in that scenario. But I just really like the offensive talent and the way that Joe Burrow's just been using everybody on the field. Like, he spreads the ball tremendously. He tries to get the ball to everybody. He doesn't focus or force to one guy, which I think is really big, because when you're coming from a big school like LSU, where you're surrounded by the best talent in the nation, and then you go to a team like Cincinnati, who's had the worst talent in the nation, not offensively, but overall team. I mean, he's just been doing a really great job. And I think 7 in a division matchup here is a little low, or is a little high. Sorry. I think Cincinnati is just that team that stays in games. Pittsburgh struggling against Dallas. Maybe they'll want to come out here and absolutely beat the crap out of the Bengals. I'm sure they will. But, the Bengals have nothing to lose. And I love picking teams like that in the spread. When you have a team that has nothing to lose, they're not afraid to go out there and just do whatever. Like, they're expected to lose the game. They might as well just put up a fight. And that's why I'm going to pick Cincinnati here. They got their chip on their shoulder, and I love that.
Yeah, this seems like a game where the Steelers once again might try to sleepwalk through and come out with a victory. And honestly, I don't know what the record is off the top of my head, but I think the Bengals definitely have a good record against the spread this year. They don't have a good record in general, but outside of that game against Baltimore where they just got destroyed, honestly.
Yeah.
I think the score was 27-0 or something like that. But other than that game, they've been in basically every game, and they've had a lot of spreads that were pretty big. So I feel like the Bengals have covered a lot of games, and here's another one where it's over a touchdown, 7.5 points. And honestly, I mean, the Steelers, I like them, of course, but they haven't been too impressive lately. You know what I mean? Like, they escaped a few weeks ago against the Titans when they probably should have went to overtime. Then you think about last week's game. I'm missing the game in between. I can't remember what it was, but still, I mean, they have not looked that great recently. So I'm probably going to go with the Bengals here, honestly. I don't know if I would bet this one in real life, but I do like Joe Burrow. He does keep you in games for sure. He does limit the turnovers, and sometimes he might fumble, which is okay because they pass the ball a ton and have a terrible offensive line. And that's a concern because the Steelers, they can get to the quarterback, as we know. So we'll see what happens, but I think Cincinnati has enough firepower offensively, and Tyler Boyd and Higgins and hopefully A.J. Green can find a way to put up some points on the board. And you mentioned Joe Mixon being out. I'd rather have him there, of course, but Gio Bernard has been pretty good when filling in for him, so it's not the biggest concern for me in the world. And I think James Conner got hurt in that game against the Cowboys anyway, so the Steelers might not have their running back, so we'll see when the injury reports actually come out. But I'm fine with 7.5. I will take the Bengals to cover there. Next, we're on to the Seattle Seahawks, a nice divisional matchup there at the LA Rams. And I don't know if I got this right. I feel like I'm wrong here, but I have the Rams as a -2. But I guess they are. Yeah, the Rams are favored by 2. Kind of surprising. I guess people are kind of out on the Seahawks after that performance. But I guess we are, because we both picked the Rams here to cover this game.
I picked the Rams because, I just watched this Seahawks team, and they're just way too reliant on Russell Wilson. And I get it. It's a good guy to be relying on, but when you're playing a team like this who has a good offense and a good defense, it's going to be hard for a team like the Seahawks to win when they're really lopsided. And you just look all around the field. The Rams take advantage of bad defenses. They're not one of those teams that plays against bad defenses, underperforms. I mean, Jared Goff plays I think I always thought he was the more athletic and better deep thrower version of Matt Ryan, Jared Goff. So, I mean, Matt Ryan does the same thing against bad defenses. He takes advantage. He throws the ball down the field. I think Jared Goff does it better than him, which is why I think they will actually have a really good shot at winning this game by a good margin. And I don't like Seattle's defense. Now, obviously, how could you not like Seattle's offense when Russell Wilson's on the field? Put him with the worst team in the NFL. Put him with the Jets. He'll probably still win a decent amount of games. But it's too much, because the Rams defense is going to stop Russell Wilson probably 3, 4, maybe 5 drives in this game. 5 drives is a little much for Russell Wilson, but you know what I mean. And they're going to give the ball back to the Rams offense, and the Rams offense is just going to tear up this defense. I really don't see a lane here where Seattle could possibly cover or even win the game. I just like LA's full team. I think they're just a great all-around team, and they have a great coach who schemes up well against division teams that he's seen a lot. So I could imagine they're going to be really good in this game.
I know you love your Rams, and for you to say you don't see a path for them to cover or win this game, the Seahawks, I mean, makes me a little confident now picking this Rams team. But, we talked about coming into the year for week 1. We talked about Sean McVay's week 1 record and the points per game he scores in week 1, which was 36 or something. I don't know what his record is off the bye, but I have to imagine it's pretty good, because when this guy has a chance to game plan and play against a team like the Seahawks who have so many defensive deficiencies, which is why I put them in that video of teams I think could struggle this year, which I know the record isn't saying that, but the Seahawks have too many flaws to win the Super Bowl. Like when you ask a general fan, like, who's your Super Bowl favorite? Some people say Seattle, but like to me, I'm like,
No
I
way.
don't know if I can see that. They don't have the defense, and their offensive line is just like blah. Like I don't think it's that good. So they have some really good skill position players, one of the best quarterbacks in football. But outside of Jamal Adams and I don't even know who else on that defense is really that good. I mean, they have Bobby Wagner, of course, but like there's
Yeah.
no one really fantastic outside of those guys, maybe Shaquille Griffin, but it's not like anyone on that team outside of maybe a few players is like fantastic. If they lost Russell Wilson, this is a 4 or 5 win team, maybe worse. So like I don't think Seattle's that good. They're coming off a tough loss, and sometimes I like teams coming off tough losses, but I like teams even more coming off the bye, and that's what the Rams are. And I trust Sean McVay to have a good game plan in this one. And you know what? I think they'll put up a lot of points here. Can Seattle counteract with that and put up a lot of points themselves? Sure. But I think if Seattle wins this game, it's going to be like a 35-32 type score or something like that. So I think we know the Rams are going to score, but can Seattle do it? That's the real question. So I'm confident that the Rams can score. I just don't know if Seattle can. And the Rams defense deserves some respect. They're not too bad. So I'll go with them. And as I said, Seattle's offensive line is not the best. So I'll go with the Rams to probably win this game outright, definitely cover. Next, we're on to the San Francisco 49ers. They're at the New Orleans Saints. This was one of the best games last year, if you remember, the George Kittle game. Like I
Yeah.
think right before the fourth quarter ended, like threw some guys off him, and I think the Niners won that game. But much different circumstances this time. The Niners are not in a good spot. The Saints are in a good spot, coming off their most impressive win of the year. So New Orleans is a -9. I'm going to go with the 49ers, and you're going to go with the Saints here.
I'm going to go with the Saints because I think Drew Brees and that team coming off a really good win, especially when they got Michael Thomas back, who really didn't even do much in that game. I think that's huge for them. And the fact that they can win against a team like Tampa Bay without their best wide receiver or with their best wide receiver, but him not really doing much by that margin, I mean, that's impressive. And you're playing a San Francisco team, like you mentioned, the George Kittle game. This isn't going to be a George Kittle game. I mean, George Kittle's not going to play. He's not going to play for a while. And I think this is one of the games where maybe, like you said before about the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe the Saints try and almost sleepwalk their way through this game and kind of keep it close. But I just don't know. I think they need to prove to the rest of the world that they were a really good team. I think last week was a great example. But if you can't do it on a consistent basis, then no one's going to call you a really good team. So I think the Saints need to come out here and they need to prove it again. They need to beat a great coach in Sean McVay, who, again, Sean McVay, oh my God,
Peyton.
Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, I was just struck, with Sean McVay because he's just like one of the best schemers in the league, just like Kyle Shanahan.
Just like Doug Peterson.
Just like Doug. Oh, Doug Peterson, don't even get me started.
All right.
The Saints they're just a better overall team, and it certainly doesn't help that it doesn't help in any situation losing George Kittle, and I think that's really just like the what is it, the hammer on the head? I don't know. The nail in the coffin.
Nail on the head. Nope. Nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin.
We could go nail on the head. Okay. Oh, that's fair. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I know the Niners don't have their starting quarterback. I know they're missing their best offensive player in George Kittle, but I don't look at the Niners as a team that's going to lay down and just take beatings from teams. I feel like the Niners are a team that's going to fight. And as you said about Sean McVay in the game prior, I trust Kyle Shanahan to have a really good game plan here. And I know the Saints defense can really just turn up sometimes and play really well, as we saw on Sunday. And they did that last year as well. Like the Saints kind of started off average, and then they hit a point last year where they went full stride and started playing really well. So hopefully it's not a turning point for their defense, because I'll probably get this wrong if that's the case. But them getting Brandon Ayuk back, which is nice. And I think maybe Deebo Samuel, I'm not really positive on that one, but maybe they get Jordan Reed, their tight end, back for a full snap count probably in this game. And Ross Dwelly, all these great guys, and that Richie James guy. Who's going to stop this Niners team? I don't think anyone can. Nick Mullins, he's not that good, but you could do worse, I guess. And to ask him to be a game manager and just be decent, I guess he can do that. I forget it. Is Raheem Mostert coming back this week or no? Because I feel like I saw he might.
He might. He's questionable.
Yeah, if he plays, he
Yeah,
definitely is a guy that can break off a big run or two, which would be really nice for this.
yeah.
But if he's back, I'd feel even better about it. But yeah, I mean, look, of course, I think the Saints are going to win this game. I don't see the beat up Niners actually winning this one. But they play close games. These teams, I just feel like the coach is really good for the Niners, and not to say Sean Payton's not good, but I trust them to actually be up for this game, have a good offensive game plan, and as long as Nick Mullins isn't out there throwing interceptions all the time. I feel like they can keep this one somewhat close, but we'll see. I mean, maybe the Saints pull away late. I can definitely see that one, but hopefully for my sake, the Niners find a way to be competitive all game. Next, we're on to, I guess this is Sunday Night Football. Baltimore at New England. Baltimore's a -7, and I'm going to make this one quick. I'm going to go first in this one. I'm going to pick Baltimore, and the reason why is because Baltimore, when they play bad teams, they just beat the crap out of them. Like when Baltimore plays a good team, they usually have a tougher time. But when they play bad teams, which I think the New England Patriots are because they almost lost to the Jets, when they play a bad team, I mean, Baltimore just beats the crap out of them. So that's pretty much my analysis for this one. So I'm going to pick Baltimore.
I'll keep it short. Yeah, I'm going with Baltimore for pretty much the same reason as you. I mean, like there's no motivation to pick the Patriots. I mean, other than the fact that we just said they might get Zach Wilson, which winning is not going to really help that scenario if you're the New England Patriots, or maybe you'd like to extend your options with maybe a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields possibly. But yeah, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. It's the Ravens by a touchdown against probably one of the worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yep, no, I don't blame you. Let me ask you this, just 'cause we kept this game short, just to fill in some more time. If you
All
were a
right.
Jets fan and you were
Okay.
watching that game on Monday night, coming into it, would you rather have lost that game or actually get your first win on the year? Because you have to look at it from like, I want Trevor Lawrence, but I also hate the Patriots type standpoint, and I've heard different opinions about it. So if you were a Jets fan personally, how would you look at that?
Well, the way I look at this is I don't really see any other team in the league going 1-15. I definitely don't see. Obviously, there's no
The
chance of another team besides
Jaguars?
the Jets. I don't see them going 1-15. I think they can win a game here and there. So even if you get a win, like I don't. There's. Have you seen the Jets schedule? Like they're not going to win another game. Like they are literally not going to win another game of the season. I think that was like their last hope. So I think like from a fan standpoint, not watching that team just like lose every game. Like sure, like obviously I'm a Rutgers fan, so I've dealt with this like the last 5 or 6 years. Like we stink. All right. Like I know what it feels like just to lose and lose and lose and never win. So I mean, for the fan, I'm sure the fans will be happier in the long run with this loss. But at the time, it just like you're finally like watching a competitive Jets game. You want them to win. I think if they won that game, they would still be able to get Trevor Lawrence. That's basically what I'm
That's
saying.
fair. Okay. No, I get it. I just looked at their schedule just because you said it. The only games I can see them winning are the last week at New England. And then honestly, I'll give them a chance in week 13 against the Raiders because if I go back all the way to last year, the Jets played the Raiders when they were at home, the Jets, and the Jets absolutely beat the crap out of the Raiders. It was like 34-13, maybe the score was. I think my man Brian Poole had like a pick six, maybe. They just destroyed them. I know the Jets were a lot more competitive last year. They were 7-9, surprisingly. Now they might go 0-16. But I think that's a matchup where they have a chance. They'll probably get blown out, but I think there's a chance. So right now, yeah, they probably had to win that game to get their only win of the year, but I think week 17 is still alive as long, by that point, Cam Newton might be
Yeah.
hurt or something like that. They might bench him by that point. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think there's a chance week 17 and maybe against the Raiders. But any other game here, I don't really see it happening for them. So maybe we see another 0-16 team. That'd be pretty interesting to see. But anyway, next, we're on to, and last, we have the Minnesota Vikings Monday Night Football at the Chicago Bears. And I give you credit because I left this game off the schedule because I'm a dum-dum, but thank you for telling me this game's actually happening because I forgot. But Minnesota's a -3, and I really wanted to take the Bears to go against you, but I'm not. We're both going to take the Vikings here.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point too in like the last whatever 5 minutes where we were about to start recording, but you forgot about the game. You did a really smart move in looking up the run defense because for the Bears, because I mean Dalvin Cook drives the offense. If Dalvin Cook does well, the Vikings don't do well. If he doesn't do well, it's most likely that they're not going to do that well. Even though they do have some offensive weapons that are like really good at the wide receiver position, so I'm a little surprised they're like not as good in the pass game. But I mean, you have Dalvin Cook. You have Dalvin Cook. You don't need to pass the ball, especially if you're playing a team in the Chicago Bears who, like you said before we started recording, they have a middle of the pack defense. That's not good enough. Like top five defense against Dalvin Cook might not be that like good enough. So if you're gonna have a middle of the pack run defense, like that's literally just it's not good enough. The only way I can see the Bears winning here is literally putting the game in Nick Foles' hands. Nick Foles needs to take this game over. Enough with the David Montgomery stuff. I don't even think David Montgomery's going to play. You're not going to have David Montgomery. You're not going to have Tariq Cohen. I don't know why I said probably. Who are you going to run the ball with? I mean, you have no options.
Ryan Knoll. I don't know. It's some white
yeah.
guy. I don't know who it is. He's not good. But yeah.
Well, just put the only way they win the game is Nick Foles just taking it, having maybe like a spark of his past Eagle years or something like that. I don't know. I just see Minnesota all over, especially since you mentioned the run defense for Chicago.
That's what I looked at. I really wanted to see how Chicago was against the run. They were about league average, maybe a tiny bit better, like maybe 12th to 14th best in the NFL. But for me to pick the Bears, it would have to be like top 5 because Dalvin Cook is playing at a different level than anybody else right now. So, yeah, I mean, as you said, if you put the game in Nick Foles' hands, I don't trust him to not make a mistake. And if Montgomery misses this game, then that's probably a bad thing for us because Montgomery stinks. I mean, I will come out and say it. I have 3 fantasy leagues. I took him in all of them because I got the discount on him because he was injured. But, like, man, that guy's terrible. Like, he does the least with the most opportunity. They give him so many opportunities. The guy's trash. I think it'd be better for us, honestly, if he played in that game. But with him out and that Ryan Nall guy and Cordero Patterson as their running backs, Nick Foles might have to throw the ball, 50 times, and I don't trust Nick Foles to play a completely turnover-free game. And I don't know. I mean, their only weapon really – I mean, Darnell Mooney's pretty good, but Allen Robinson's really their only guy. Maybe they find a way to get Jimmy Graham involved here. But I guess maybe if Allen Robinson had a big game, like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, then maybe they find a way here. But other than that, I mean, the possibilities of – the Bears actually winning this game, I don't really see happening. Now, sometimes the Bears just play well out of nowhere, which could happen in this case, but I just think the Vikings right now, they got off to a very bad start. They traded Ngakoue, basically said, okay, we're going to try and rebuild here, but like they actually have been playing pretty well recently. A lot of it is Dalvin Cook. They had that impressive win against the Packers. Who did they beat last week? Because now I forget who the Vikings just beat. Was it Houston or no? Am I wrong about that one?
Houston played Jacksonville.
Yes. Who did the Vikings just play? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was someone decent though, right? Like,
I'll look. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
You look at that for 2 seconds. But yeah, the Vikings. I mean, as you said, they have their weapons and Thielen. They have Jefferson. I just feel like they can move the ball well enough. And the whole Kirk Cousins on primetime thing, bit scary in my opinion. But once he won that game in the playoffs at New Orleans last year, that kind of like went over my head. So I'm like, you know what? I can give Kirk Cousins one win. Did you have an answer or no?
It looks to me like they had a bye week.
What? That's even better. I don't care. Yeah. I'm taking them. I know. So the last time they played was the Packers game. So it's even better. Their confidence is high, and they're coming off a bye. Confidence high, bye. Good rhyme. We're going to take the Vikings to win that game. I'll take that one for sure. Nice. All right. So with that being said, I did not list this, but give me your 2 favorite bets this week.
Oh, all right. My 2 favorite bets, I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'll take the LA Rams.
Rams. Okay. I hope the Raiders lose that one because that would be funny in my opinion. All right, so my first one that I already have listed is I'm going to go with Washington as a plus 4.5 against Detroit. My other one I think is going to be – I feel good about Baltimore. Let's go with them because you know what? Even when the Patriots were good last year, do you remember when Baltimore and New England played last year, how badly Baltimore beat them? Yeah. Like it was a beatdown. And that was at the point in the year where
everybody last year, though.
Yeah, I know. But everyone thought at that point last year that the Patriots would go 16-0. They can't be beaten. But, of course, Baltimore came out in prime time and just beat the crap out of them. So, you know what? Baltimore against a significantly worse Patriots team, I think, can do a lot of damage. So I will go with Washington and Baltimore. Andrew's going to go with the Raiders and the Rams as his favorite bets this week. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully the Giants win. Hopefully, what's my team name in our league? I don't even know what my team name in our league. It's probably something that's not appropriate to say on here, but I'm going to look it up real quick. Hopefully the Giants and –
I know what it is.
Is it not good?
I mean, it's political.
No, we're not going to say it. All right. Hopefully the Giants and my fantasy team. I saw it too. It's not bad, but like still, we're just not going to – I don't like it, into politics on here.
It's for the best.
It's for the best, yeah. All right, so Mike's fantasy team, Mike's Giants, they win, and Andrew hopefully falls even further behind in the standings here.
It is crazy this week. Like I play you
Yeah,
in fantasy, and then my
it
team
is.
plays your team.
It's
It's
a
nuts.
big week, and one of us will be very
Big week.
unhappy, and the other one will just, be really happy. So we'll see when we come on next week. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys next week.